All right, everybody. So the reason you clicked on this thumbnail, probably because you're feeling pretty triggered right now. As it takes and it says down below, why the Titans will never, ever, ever, ever win a Super Bowl unless they do this. Now, please know I am not a Titans hater. I was actually pulling for the Titans this whole time during this game. Now, shout out to the Bengals. They are a fantastic team. They did a wonderful job today. But with the Titans, wow. I expected to see you guys in the AFC Championship, and then here we are, and you lose 19-16. But I know why this happened. If you don't remember, it was 2 years ago when the Kansas City Chiefs took and won the Super Bowl. Now, they were facing off against this team, and obviously Derrick Henry is no secret. He's the best running back in the league. And you're probably like, well, what does that game have to do with tonight? I'm going to bring it all full circle here, okay? The problem is that you make your whole game plan, and I know Todd Downing wasn't the offensive coordinator back then, but you make your whole game plan around just running the ball and running the ball and running the ball. I mean, you have such a talented, an embarrassment of talent on offense. You know, you got A.J. Brown, you got Julio Jones. You have a great coaching staff and one of the most ferocious defense. You got to call them top 2 or top 3 best defense in the National Football League. But then you get to this point just for the coaches not to trust Ryan Tannehill. I mean, on that, was it 4th and 1 towards the end of the game? I mean, really give it to Henry? Everybody saw, a blind man could have saw that. So I'm going to say this. And if this ruffles your feathers, please know it's not my goal, but I want to, one thing I always appreciate, one thing we celebrate here on the Touchdown with Doug Smith and the folks at Touchdown Nation is diversity of thought. Okay. And we don't have no sheep. None of my co-hosts nor myself is a sheep. We don't just follow the go along, get along game. But if you look at the Dallas Cowboys, again, embarrassment of riches, talents, offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball. The problem they have is Jerry Jones. So until you remove someone like that from your organization, until you remove someone like potentially a Todd Downing, it may even be Mike Vrabel who called this. He was also the coach back then 2 years ago as well too, right? So a big question mark is who came up with the game plan, and then number 2, are they willing to do what it takes to win a Super Bowl next year? Because this was supposed to be the year. You shut down the Bills, you shut down the Chiefs, and we shut down some of the most ferocious competition. Just taking loose. And again, the Bengals are a fierce team. Yes, there were tip passes. I know that's coming. You were already typing it. There were tip passes. Yes, I understand. But just come this far just to come up with a lackluster, probably the most lackluster game plan. And while there were mistakes, yes, guess what? There were also opportunities to win or at least put 3 points on the daggone board. I'm done talking. Adrian, man, what are your thoughts on tonight's game, man?
Look, man, as much as I want to put a lot of this on Tennessee, and I think you hit all those points, right? Like, this just wasn't a very good game plan. But all of that stuff out of the side, let's not discredit Cincinnati at all, man. This is a team that I think everybody outside of Cincinnati, analysts, everybody was picking Tennessee to kind of dominate this, right? Like, you know, the Cincinnati kind of edged out the Raiders last week, and we were like, oh, they're going to go play the number 1 seed, possibly getting Derrick Henry back. Titans have been rolling for a little bit. Defense have been good with them, and we're like, now they're going to go play some real competition. We know about Joe Burrow and we know about Jamar Chase. I don't know about the rest of this team. And hats off to Zach Taylor and his coaching staff and these players, because they went out there and they executed. Now, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty by any stretch of the imagination. Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times in this game, right? And this is the first time, I think, in NFL history that a quarterback has been sacked that many times and still won the game. He's 28 for 37, 348 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, right? So they could not find the end zone tonight through the passing game. But, I mean, Joe Burrow was effective with, you know, what was given to him. I think for his second year in the league, right, there's some sacks that I wouldn't have taken. I would have got rid of the ball on a couple of these plays. But I think, you know, this team made the most of its opportunities. It wasn't intimidated at all going into hostile territory, playing against the number 1 seed in the AFC. They were convinced that they had some pretty good players too. And I like the fact that they came out and punched him in the mouth. The defense for the Bengals stepped way up, and they held Derrick Henry, to 62 yards on 20 carries. Now I know he's probably not at 100%, right? Just coming back off of that broken foot. He's got screws and plates and stuff in his foot. Hasn't really had a chance to get out there and get up to game speed. So I know I hear everybody already that's like, well, Derrick Henry wasn't at full strength. And well, at this point in the season, nobody is really at full strength. But even then, right? Like we talked about it on the last podcast, a Derrick Henry at 80% is probably better than a majority of the running backs in the league. And I'd like to think that he was just watching him this game. I don't think he was at 80. I think he was probably closer to about 70, 75, right? But even still was a big threat. Dante Foreman, 4 carries, 66 yards. So they were pretty effective. I think what it boiled down to, right, and you kind of talked about it, is this coaching staff really trusting Ryan Tannehill with the ball. Now, you can be on one side of the fence where you could say, hey, Ryan Tannehill didn't step up in the big moments. Or you could say, hey, credit the Cincinnati defense. The secondary got in there, got their hands in there, tipped some balls. It was very opportunistic. The ball just happened to bounce their way tonight. And I think it's a little bit of both, right? Because we've talked about Ryan Tannehill throughout the season, how he's a good, not great quarterback. And this was a moment that he could have put this whole team on his back. And I think, it was just some throws that just didn't go his way. Not the best throws either, but I think once again, I don't want to put this all on how bad Tennessee is, because I think when we do that, I think we discredit the effort of the Cincinnati Bengals from top to bottom in that organization. I'm happy. It shocked me. I picked the Titans to win this game pretty handedly, but I think the real hero of this game, right? Not Joe Burrow, not Jamar Chase, not the defense. I think the real hero of this game is a young man, a rookie. Let me make sure I get his name right. I want to make sure I get his name right. He's the kicker, the rookie kicker. I believe his name is Evan McPherson. Yeah. Rookie kicker out of Florida. Big time tonight, man. Big time tonight. I mean, I think he's has the highest points scored in the game tonight. I think he scored the most points for either team tonight. But big game-winning kick on the line. I was just reading this interview, this quote where Joe Burrow was talking about McPherson was on the sideline right after the interception, and he was doing some warm-up kicks, and he was talking to their backup QB, and he took a couple swings, and he's like, well, looks like we're about to win this game and be in the AFC Championship. They put him in position. He gets out there and kicks it. And I mean, it is a beautiful kick. There was no doubt about it. Straight down the middle. Credit to that young man. Credit to this front office, because, it is hard picking special teams players, let alone kickers, and drafting them, right? Like actually drafting those players. Nobody wants to spend draft picks on kickers and punters and special teams players. It was like, we'll get you up after the draft. But the fact that they went out and they got this young man, and he has rewarded their faith in him all season. He's been big time all year. You got to think, man, this is very special for him, special for this team, special for the city of Cincinnati, man. Like, I would not be surprised if Cincinnati is on fire right now, like literally on fire. They can't contain themselves, right? They've won a division. We talked about it last week. They won the division. Nobody had them picked for that. I think we had them still sitting at the bottom with Zach Taylor getting fired. Zach Taylor ain't going nowhere anytime soon. I can tell you that. Joe Burrow is the real deal, might be the best quarterback in that division. Jamar Chase, going to be a really dominant receiver for a long, long time. Evan McPherson, if this season is any indication of what we've got, they're going to have a solid, reliable kicker for years to come. I think the next step for Cincinnati, right? Obviously, the focus is on next week, whoever's going to come out of that Bills or that Chiefs game. I'll be honest with you. I don't want the ride to stop for them. I would love to see them knock out the Bills or the Chiefs and send the entire NFL landscape into an absolute frenzy. But we'll get to that when we get to it. But I think the very next thing that they have to do after we wrap up this NFL season, regardless of what the result is, right? You got to go get some protection for Joe Burrow. Everybody talked about them passing on tonight. That's what I'm saying. Everybody talked about them with him. Well, not necessarily with him, but passing on Penei Sewell for Jamar Chase, right? And to their credit, they proved us wrong, right? That's worked out very well for them. But it's nights like tonight where your star quarterback, your franchise player, is getting hit 9 times. He's on the ground 9 times for a total loss of 68 yards. you've got to keep this man upright. You can't afford for him to be taking those kind of hits. You can't afford for him to get injured. This is the franchise we hope for a long, long time in Cincinnati. So Cincinnati front office, whoever's in charge of your personnel, I beg of you, please, please, please look in this draft, look at some available offensive linemen that are free agents, and please spend some money and get Joe Burrow some protection. We've seen what he can do without it. Imagine what he could do with it. Titans fans, sorry, man, not your year again. You can write it however you want. The ball bounced Cincinnati's way. You guys choked. You can explain it however you want to explain it. I'm sad for you guys. I had you guys playing ball next week. The season's over. Really nothing else to talk about with them, man. I can't say anything really about the coaching staff, especially after, I'm on record talking about Mike Vrabel being a candidate for coach of the year. And I still feel that way even after tonight. Is just they played arguably one of their worst games of the season at the worst possible time in the season. You hate to see it. You hate for it to end like that for them. But once again, I'm happy for the Cincinnati Bengals. This is it's unprecedented. And I think games like this, outcomes like this is what makes the NFL fun. It's what makes it probably, in my opinion, I think it's the best sport to watch, is because any given Sunday or Saturday for that matter, anybody can beat anybody. And the thing, it's not set regardless of what all the numbers and the stats and even the things that we've seen with our eyes all season tell us, right? They always got one or two surprises left in store for us. I can't wait to see how the rest of these divisional matchups shake out. I know we got one going on right now. Can't wait to see what the outcome of that is. And we've got, 2 stacked matchups tomorrow night. It's been a fun season, man. And I can't wait to see how it finishes. Congratulations again to Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Evan McPherson, and the whole Cincinnati Bengals crew. You guys deserve it. I haven't even had a chance to watch Joe Burrow's press conference, and I can't wait to watch his press conference because it's swag god.
Rumor has it they're already building a statue of Mr. Joe Burrow.
Hey, you know what? If they did, I wouldn't blame them, because name me another Bengals quarterback ever that has done for this franchise what Joe Burrow has done in 2 short years, right? Guys, we thought that Marvin Lewis's tenure in Cincinnati was ridiculous. I think Zach Taylor, with this win tonight, he has really kind of dug his claws into the city of Cincinnati. And just like we said last week, there will be no Zach Taylor slander tolerated in the city of Cincinnati. There will be no Joe Burrow slander tolerated in the city of Cincinnati from now until the end of time. Congratulations, Cincinnati. I'm happy for you guys. Congratulations, Joe Burrow.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Cincinnati Bengals. And, well, Titans, you got a lot of thinking to do this offseason. Thank you guys for tuning in so much to another great episode of Touchdown with Doug Smith, my co-host, Mr. Adrian Campbell. You see his information on the screen. Go ahead, follow him on Twitter at ACTheGDB. I was gonna say something. I was gonna say something slick, man.
That's what it is. It's AC to GDP. Adrian Campbell, the goddamn Batman. Shout out to all the great Batman. Frank, this is the goddamn Batman is a Frank Miller reference from All-Star Batman and Robin. So yes, I do be on my comic book nerd tip, and if y'all didn't know, we're taking over not just in the entertainment space, but we're taking over in the NFL too.
Absolutely, man. My guy Adrian, man, is an absolute whiz, not only with the football, but man, when it comes to anything superheroes, comic books, that's your man right there, man. So please go give him a follow and go ahead and support the brand. God bless you guys. Have a good night.
Tune in now, another Sports Center. It's a movement.